Hey guys, how are you? Hope you're all doing very well. This evening I'm going to be doing a review of a crime thriller from Sweden, Swedish language English subs, released in the year 2012, directed by Lars Hallström, and this movie is called The Hypnotist. And the story to The Hypnotist is as follows. In the middle of a black December night, a gruesome triple homicide attracts the interest of Detective Inspector Jona Lina. The killer is still at large, and there's only one surviving witness, the traumatized boy whose family were brutally slaughtered before him. In a bid to block out the tragedy, the boy has retreated inwards, and desperate for information, Lena only sees one option, hypnotism. He enlists Dr. Eric Maria Bach to mesmerize the boy, hoping to discover the killer through his eyes. It's the sort of work that Bach has sworn he would never do again, ethically dubious and physically scarring. When he breaks the promise and hypnotizes the victim, a long and terrifying chain of events begins to unravel. So the movie starts off with a very brutal triple homicide. This young boy's family has been murdered, and he is the surviving. He's the survivor of this horrific crime, and he's in a coma. So the police really want to get to the bottom of this. They want to find the killer. So there is no way that the police can talk to the boy because he's still in this coma. So they enlist the services of this doctor who's a hypnotist. Now, for reasons that I'm not going to go into, he had sworn never to do hypnotism again. It backfired for him, and it labelled him as, a disgrace. So he's promised never to do it again, but the detectives managed to convince him to do it because they say that he'll be helping a lot of people, because the daughter, who wasn't part of the family at that time, is now in danger because they are worried that the killer was going to target her. So in order to help this surviving family member and also that of the sister, the doctor decides to hypnotize the boy, and this is where things start to become a little bit clearer. But the moment they start becoming clearer, the life of the hypnotist and his family is starting to get in grave danger. So the truth is, very, very dangerous, and the closer he gets to it, the more and more his life is threatened. So that's all I'm going to give him the synopsis. If you want to know more, please go out there and see The Hypnotist for yourself. Now, my thoughts on this movie. I saw on IMDb a lot of people slag this movie off because they said it was nothing like the novel. Now, in case you haven't realised, The Hypnotist is actually based on the novel of the same name, and I haven't read it. I hadn't even heard of it. So coming into the film, most of the criticism was down to the fact that it wasn't staying true to the book. So since I hadn't read the book, I thought I would enjoy it. I wouldn't pay attention to the criticisms because I feel that a lot of criticisms as far as film adaptations are concerned, it's a little bit, if it was exactly like the book, it wouldn't bring anything new. So I think the film's taking creative liberties is a good thing because it's not directly just copying the book, it's giving it a little bit of its own as far as the film's concerned, because a film and a book are two different things, obviously. So I think that when a film is a little bit different, I think it's good because it still keeps unpredictability there, but it still pays respect to the book. So as I said, I hadn't read the book, so I was going into there with a clean slate, and I was going to give it every possibility to impress me, which is exactly what it did. The Hypnotist is a very, very good thriller. Now, in the past, I've watched some Swedish thrillers that really feel like TV movies. They just don't feel like they have a thrilling aspect in it. The Hypnotist is completely different. I thought it was a very thrilling film. It reminded me of the suspense levels of Julia's Eyes, which is a Spanish movie. Completely different story, but it had that same sort of, you kind of feel someone is watching you. Although someone may not be watching you, you're paranoid. It feels like eyes are on you all the time. And that's what the suspense brought to the film. It was that uncertainty, is that something was building up. You didn't see what it was, but you knew that something behind this murder at the start of the movie, something was really bad, and these people may not be who we thought they were initially. So the movie unravels very, very nicely, and I thought it was a surprising film because not many people talk about this one. When you talk about Swedish crime thrillers, you think of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I would put The Hypnotist right up there with The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Now, it does have its problems, but as I said, it felt like a feature film. It felt like a movie that was made with purpose. It felt like a movie that was paying respect. It wasn't lazy. It didn't cut corners like some other films that I reviewed in the past do. And it just felt like a very polished piece. The cinematography was excellent, captures the cold side of Sweden very well. I love the fact that the killings at the start of the movie were brutal. Very, very nasty. So it gives you more intensity to the villain. When you see what this guy, this killer was capable of, it was just really brutal. So you thought to yourself, yeah, this guy is nasty. It's not sort of glossed over. It shows you matter of fact. So when you see how nasty this guy can be, you get even more intimidated by him. So the killer's identity at the end of it, it does twist and turn. So although I say him, I'm not giving anything away because there's a lot more to that. So don't worry, that's not a spoiler. But I thought, yeah, the level of mystery to the film was really well done. And another aspect I loved about this movie was the fact that the characters were really, really likable. At the start of the movie, you get an insight into the dynamics of the hypnotist family. You feel that the past is really haunting them. And a lot of these sorts of movies, the side stories of the family life become a distraction, but this one didn't, because I felt that the side story was necessary, because by the end of the film you really care for the hypnotist and his family. You want them to get through this, and that's something that is rare these days. They're very hollow, cardboard cutout sort of figures. So when they go to the side story, it becomes a distraction rather than making the film better and making the film more complete. Whereas in this movie, I thought it was necessary to do the side story, and they do the side story really, really well. It doesn't dwell on the other sort of matters very much, so the continuity of the film is really, really good. So I like that aspect of it as well. The acting was excellent. I thought there was twists and turns that I did not see coming. So you kind of feel to yourself that you know where it's going, but then all of a sudden it just pulls the rug from under you and you go in a different direction. And I really like that. It keeps you guessing right up to the very end. So that was very good. Some people have been complaining about the cliche sort of ending. It's a little bit Hollywood, but I thought it was a really neat way to finish it, because in this style of film, I thought the way it finished stayed true to the overall feeling, and I was really satisfied by the way it ended. So I really like that aspect of it as well. My only problem with the film is that it does kind of feels like it's cutting corners towards the end a little bit. The explanations for certain events, I thought it was a little bit of a cop-out. They could have gone into it with a little bit more detail, but it felt like they were running out of time, so they just have to make this revelation very matter of fact. It was straight away, and it felt like, yeah, that was very convenient for the plot. Not necessarily something that you would think that was a possibility so quickly, but it felt like, yeah, the movie's ending so quickly, we have to make all these revelations, we have to reveal this, we have to reveal that. How are we going to do it? We're just going to cut corners and say this happened. And as I said, it's not really that realistic, but it is convenient for the film. So I noticed that, and I was kind of taken back a little bit by that, but it didn't destroy the experience, because this is a very good crime thriller from Sweden. It's very brutal. It's not excessive. There's hardly any killings, but when the killings happen, they're very in your face, and I thought that was very necessary to show you just how vicious the evil presence in the film was. And then the character development was excellent, and it was very thrilling. Some very suspenseful moments. Another little problem I had with it is that it would have a thrilling aspect, and then it will go into talking, and then it will have another thrilling aspect. And the reason why I say that's a bad thing is because when the thrilling aspects happen, the suspenseful moments, the suspenseful set pieces, they're really well done. So if that was sustained throughout the entire movie, non-stop, it would have been one hell of an experience. But then it stops, you kind of get your breath back, and then it goes again. So I would have liked it if it just didn't let you get your breath back. It just kept going and going, just being a completely relentless film. But it's not that way. So on one hand, I was a little bit disappointed at that, but at the other hand, I thought the character development was necessary for the ending to work, and it did. So overall, I'm going to give this film 4 stars. It's coming highly recommended. It's not a masterpiece because it doesn't strike you as a film that is unique as far as, completely blowing you away in a movie that is going to last a lifetime. It's not quite one of those movies, so that's why it doesn't get perfect score. But 4 stars for the crime thriller The Hypnotist. It is definitely recommended. Even if you've read the book, I would still highly recommend that you check out the film, because as far as crime thrillers are concerned, this one is at the top of the pile. So 4 stars for The Hypnotist is coming highly recommended. Alright guys, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.